generation needs. They need so much more. And I know it's like, well, where are the parents? Like, it's not our responsibility to teach all of this. It is for at least 8 hours a day if you know that that's the problem, right?
The kids are spending more time if anything, at school.
Exactly.
It's funny you say that too, because growing up, I went to Lincoln High. I went to 4 different high schools, but Lincoln was one of the high schools, and I was barely ever in class in high school.
That's why we moved out of Philly. My mom didn't want me going to Lincoln.
Yeah, high school is such a blur to me. And I can't tell you any of the teachers that taught me. Not that they were all bad, but I can guarantee, I do remember vividly at least a handful of teachers who were old and just going through the motions because they were looking like they were ready to go out the door.
Exactly. And we all graduate and someone goes, oh, well, who was your favorite teacher? And most of the people I talk to can only say, well, I had this one teacher.
There's always
You're
one.
like, just one?
There's
right?
always
You're
one.
in high school 4 years. And how many teachers throughout a year that you have? 6, 7, 28 teachers, 4 years. You had one good one.
Yep.
Why isn't something being done about this, right? So I also relate it to
So the first problem was literacy.
Second, not good teachers.
Teachers.
I mean, if I say this a lot, but if teachers, it's literally the hardest job in the world if you care. If you don't care, it's probably the easiest job in the world.
You got curriculum.
Yes, and you're not getting watched, right? Do you ever have the teacher who's like, yo, principal's coming in today, so today we need to do A, B.
All the time.
That?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude,
everyone remembers that.
It's ridiculous.
So if you faked it, right, those 2 days, 3 days you get observed, no one knows. Because everyone's overworked. That's true, but still, like, that needs to stop. We talk... I see a lot of news on the news recently, right? Like people are upset at police unions for protecting bad police.
Yeah.
It's
Same
the
thing
same
with
teachers
union,
union, right? Why are you protecting bad teachers?
We'll never hear about that or think about
never,
that.
Because you can't attack a teacher, right? And I get it. Like I said, it's the hardest job in the world if you care. If you really do care, you take it home with you. You're constantly thinking how to solve the problem. That student becomes like your kid. Your success is attached to their success. If they're failing, like I've gone, and when I started teaching, I would go home so often thinking I was a failure because I couldn't reach a student, or a student was like doing great and then he fell off, and like you blame you in the beginning because
you said, it's a hard job if you care.
Yes, it's so hard. But if you don't, then... And
your students will be a reflection of you, just like people who have kids are a reflection of their parents.
Yeah. Yeah. And then 3, what was the original question? I already forget.
So what are the main issues in the education system that kids are facing? And yeah. So we got literacy, we have teachers. And
just the outdated curriculum. I mean, that's what it is, right? That's what, without the state standards that I had to follow for 5-6 years, without being told that this is what I had to teach, without watching students just go through the motions too, I wouldn't have created We Love Philly to do something different, right? To get them out of the classroom. So
kind of ironic coming from a history teacher.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, just the outdated system of school itself. And a really big problem that I think is a part of that is, and this is a Philly problem, not so much a school problem, is just we have such a lack of community. That's why I love the Block Gives Back, right? You go to a Block Gives Back event, everyone's out there having a good time, everyone's doing good, the whole neighborhood comes out, everyone, that's community, right? Yeah. And if you had community like that everywhere, then those people would be in those school board meetings. Those people would be like, what are you teaching my kid? Why aren't you doing this? This one school is doing this. Why aren't you doing this? What do we have to do to get you to do this, right? But
it's a cliche for this podcast, this word community, because I say it in almost every episode. And community is just 2 words put together. It's common unity.
Yes.
And when you have a common goal or common interest and people are involved, you come together, that's community.
Yes. And that's what I'm trying my best to teach, right? Is is that community. And most of the time, communities are formed because there's ownership, and everyone in the community knows that this is theirs. We have a part in this, and this doesn't become successful unless we're all helping one another. So how do you teach that in a school? You create a We Love Philly to make the student feel like they belong to the school and feel like that they are taking a part in their education. They're having a say, right? August, for example, we did our first fundraiser ever because the students wanted a bus. They told me over the summer they wanted a bus. 2 months later, we're creating curriculum to go get a bus, right? And in a month, we raised $10,000. Now we have a school bus, right?
There you go.
So it's live. Like, that's what, and it's so much more work. And I'm trying to think of all the reasons that people say, like, yeah, but, and I don't have kids, so I know that's like, I have like the energy.
But nothing worth gained is easy.
Yeah. So the cool thing about what we're doing at We Love Philly is the curriculum is live. It's really happening in the community, right? Like, example, think of all the best shows that are on TV right now. They're all updated all the time, and it's like live, and it's a conversation on the culture going on, right? Like South Park.
Yeah,
they're putting out things that are like just happening in the news, and the reason people love that is because they can relate to it. Mm-hmm. How do you get a teenager to relate to something? You make it live, you make it happening, and you figure out how to get it on social media and let them present it to the public. And yeah, bus in August, we got $10,000 for it. They wanted to make it like a mobile flea market, a mobile education, community, traveling type thing. So that's what we're doing. Okay, let's do it. In December, they wanted to, because of COVID, they wanted to help their families like be able to give Christmas. They have a lot of little brothers and sisters. So I was like, all right, make a list. What does everyone in your family want? They made the list. We put together another fundraiser, and then we raised enough money to drive around Philly all day, just delivering.
Playing Santa.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
I was dressed up like Santa. One of our board members was an elf, and we were just driving all around Fair Hill and just Junietta, all over the place, just delivering presents. And the coolest part about that is all of that is building the community. We got out. Where were we? We were at like 4th and Lehigh, or I can't remember, maybe like 3rd and Somerset. And I'm in full Santa gear. I get out of our van that we rented to give out the gifts. And a lady literally runs up to us in tears, just crying. Oh, I had no idea who she was. Oh my God. People around here never see things like this. Can I just take a picture of you so I can show my daughter? I can't believe it. And we were like, yes. Do you want a toy? Like, and right? Like, that gives people hope, right? You don't see that stuff on the news. You're not getting fed that constantly. No one's clicking. That's not the clickbait, right? And just for people to see that is amazing. But yeah, we delivered toys to 65 different kids. I can't remember. I do too many things. Sorry.
Regardless, that's huge. Making an impact.
And now we're moving on to try to combat gentrification in the neighborhoods now. So that's our next.
Talk about a problem.
That's our next big myth. But yeah, we're gonna do. So we're like 2 weeks into it. We're gonna raise $25,000. The students want to take a shipping container and they want to turn it into a livable space. So. And then we're going to rent it out on Airbnb, and then they can learn all the skills from start to finish and what that looks like. And the students who put the legitimate equity in it, they're going to own it. Like, this is going to be yours. Nice. You're going to have equity in it. If you want to sell it, you can sell your part to another student or whatever you want to do with it, as long as it stays in the We Love Philly, like, family, right? Like, let's keep this going. So yeah, that's our next goal. We've gotten $5,000 in about 2 weeks. And yeah, but it comes back to, and this is going to be my challenge, is I can barely put hammer to nail. Like, I don't know how to fix anything, right?
Well, you know the block. So we come up with a solution right here.
Yeah. So that's going to be my goal after the after our big event on May 8th. We're going We're going to be in Fair Hill and in Strawberry Mansion. We're going to be putting together planter boxes and giving out fruit-bearing trees.
I grew up in Fair Hill.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's where our high school is at 4th and Somerset.
Oh, there you go. Oh, right. The old Edison? No. The other one, right?
It's across from Julio de Burgos.
Got you. I know
school.
exactly what you're talking about. Wow.
So we're going to be
world.
Yeah, we're going to be planting trees, and they're going to get food, right? Go back to the ownership, right? Like, here's a tree, you take care of it, you get to eat the food for free $3.99, right?
Yeah.
Like, but you got to take care of it, right? This is yours. This is what ownership looks like. Can't own nothing if you ain't going to take care of it, right? So we're going to do that from sunrise to sunset. And that's going to be like our final hurrah push to try to get that 25 grand. Once that's over, I have my own money with my best friend, and I'm going to invest in a property. And then that's going to be my summer thing. I'm just going to be learning how to fix stuff. Because come fall, when we have the shipping container, I got to teach the kids.
Dude, well, you know what?
Yeah.
We might have just sparked a great idea for the block.
Yeah.
We're here in this new facility for the listeners. They know about the block shop.
Yeah.
But this is like the block down north.
Yeah.
And they're all carpenters. Not all of them, but most of them are carpenters and they're handy. So just that alone, we can set, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to set up little workshops for people to learn how to do craft and things of that nature.
Yes. Thank you. That's the goal, right? Like, the students, the reason they got on it is they see, right, our high schools are in Strawberry Mansion, Fair Hill, Southwest Philly, and Juniata Park. And, like, they see, right, they're like 3 of the 4 biggest gentrified areas in Philly. Like, they're all coming up right now. And they see all these new buildings come in, and they're like, what is going on here? And, like, why? I've lived here for, like, a long time, and, like, all these bandos are now disappearing. Like, why? And, like, once I taught them about gentrification, they're like, well, what can we do about it? I'm like, you can learn how to fix some stuff and learn about real estate, because, like, unfortunately it's going to happen. It's inevitable, right? That's how money works. But there's no reason why you can't learn how to get some of that money that's going to be coming into this neighborhood. You just got to learn the skills. And then they're like, well, what can we do? And I'm like, damn, I don't know how to fix it. But I was like, yo, I mean, once again, right? Like, I didn't know how to podcast. I didn't know how to edit videos. I didn't know how to
you learn
fundraise.
As you go, man. Like you said, you got to fail forward, make those mistakes so you can teach those kids.
Yes. And the coolest thing about that is the students see your mistakes and they see that you embrace failure. And now they learn to embrace failure. And that's like, if I can teach that to one student, that will change their life. Like, you got to take these L's, right? Not losses, they're lessons. Not losses, they're lessons.
100%.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm come September, October, I'm going to be a whole different person. That's why I was excited you told me about your 75-day challenges. Like,
dude, they're goals. We always need goals, short term and long term, because without them, I mean, it's real easy to just go through life, you know, just with emotions. There's no goals. You're not striving for anything. You're just living to live. And that's not a meaningful life, in my opinion. It may be for some, but not for me. And, you know, like you said, you get the big 3, literacy, teachers, and community. And you're tackling all 3. I mean, you are a teacher, and you're teaching, you're breaking that habit of, you know, the older teacher just going through the motions, waiting for their pension and retirement. You got literacy because you're teaching these kids how to be entrepreneurs. You're teaching them, listen, you take ownership. This is what ownership is. And you're getting them involved in a whole Airbnb thing. Like, this is, I wish I had a teacher like that growing up.
Yes.
And then community, fundraising, you know, just, I think I've always said the best thing to receive is seeing the look on somebody else's face when you're giving. Yes. So that, like you said, that motto, what is it?
Give love, get love.
There you go. Give love, get love. Yes. And that's, we can be narcissistic, or I can be super selfish in the sense of I want to give, not because not only does it feel great, but I love seeing the reaction of giving. So it's selfish of me to give, you know.
But still, it's the way. There's a reason why it feels good, and it's a good feel good, right? Like that's how it's supposed to be. And that's the incentive to help one another and to reach out that hand, and it makes the biggest difference. That you mentioned the face, like I still won't ever get over, right? Like, we put together the fundraiser in August, and we did a similar sunrise to sunset. Instead of like planting trees and flowers, we cleaned up the neighborhood for 14 hours. And when students saw like strangers showing up to volunteer that they never met,